what I am fixing to read to you. So, yep, that's it. Vigilant citizen. There we go. Okay. All right, there's a link to this article. It is called The 25 Rules of Disinformation. Rule number 1, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Regardless of what you know, don't discuss it, especially if you are a public figure, news anchor, etc. If it's not reported, it didn't happen, and you never have to deal with the issues. Number 2, become incredulous and indignant. Avoid discussing key issues and instead focus on side issues, which can be used to show the topic as being critical of some otherwise sacrosanct group or theme. This is also known as the how dare you gambit. Okay, going to number 3. Create rumor mongers. Avoid discussing issues by describing all charges, regardless of venue or evidence, as mere rumors and wild accusations. Other derogatory terms, mutually exclusive of truth, may work as well. This method works especially well with the silent press because the only way the public can learn of the facts are through such arguable rumors. If you can associate the material with the internet, use this fact to certify that a wild rumor which can have no basis in fact. Number 4, use the straw man. Find or create a seeming element of your opponent's argument which you can easily knock down to make yourself look good and the opponent look bad. Either make up an issue you may safely imply exists based on your interpretation of the opponent argument, situation, or select the weakest aspect of the weakest charges. Amplify their significance and destroy them in a way which appears to debunk all the charges, real and fabricated alike, while actually avoiding discussion of the real issues. This is what they use against us. This is what keeps everything so messed up. It's deliberate. Okay. Number 5, sidetrack opponents with name calling and ridicule. This is also known as the primary attack, the messenger ploy. Though other methods qualify as variants of that approach, associate opponents with unpopular titles such as kooks, right-wing, liberal, left-wing, terrorists, conspiracy buffs, radicals, militia, racists, religious fanatics, sexual deviants, and so forth. This makes others shrink from support out of fear of gaining the same label, and you avoid dealing with the issues. Number 6, hit and run. In any public forum, make a brief attack of your opponent or the opponent position and then scamper off before an answer can be fielded, or simply ignore any answer. This works extremely well in internet and letters to the editor environments where a steady stream of new identities can be called upon without having to explain criticism reasoning. Simply make an accusation or other attack, never discussing the issues and never answering any subsequent response, for that would dignify the opponent's viewpoint. Number 7, question motives. Twist or amplify any fact which could, so taken to, imply that the opponent operates out of a hidden personal agenda or other bias. This avoids discussing issues and forces the accuser on the defensive. Number 8, invoke authority. Claim for yourself or associate yourself with authority and present your argument with enough jargon and minutia to illustrate you are one who knows, and simply say it isn't so without discussing issues or demonstrating concretely why or citing sources. Number 9, probably their best one ever, play dumb. No matter what evidence or logical argument is offered, avoid discussing issues with denial they have any credibility, make any sense, provide any proof, contain, or make a point, have logic, or support a conclusion. Mix well for maximum effect. Number 10, associate opponent charges with old news. A derivative of the straw man usually, and any large-scale matter of high visibility, someone will make charges early on which can be or were already easily dealt with. Where it can be foreseen, have your own side raise a straw man issue and have it dealt with early on as part of the initial contingency plans. Subsequent charges, regardless of validity or new ground uncovered, can usually then be associated with the original charge and dismissed as simply being a rehash without need to address current issues. So much the better where the opponent is or was involved with the original source. Number 11, establish and rely upon fallback positions. Using a minor matter or element of the facts, take the high road and confess with candor that some innocent mistake in hindsight was made, but that opponents have seized on the opportunity to blow it all out of proportion and imply greater criminalities, which just isn't so. Others can reinforce this on your behalf. Done properly, this can garner sympathy and respect for coming clean and owning up to your mistakes without addressing more serious issues. Number 12, enigmas have no solution. Drawing upon the overall umbrella of events surrounding the crime and the multitude of players and events, paint the entire affair as too complex to solve. This causes those otherwise following the matter to begin to lose interest more quickly without having to address the actual issues. Number 13, Alice in Wonderland. Avoid discussion of the issues by reasoning backwards with an apparent deductive logic in a way that forbears any actual material fact. Number 14, demand complete solutions. Avoid the issues by requiring opponents to solve the crime at hand completely, a ploy which works best for items qualifying for rule number 10. Number 15, fit the facts to alternate conclusions. This requires creative thinking unless the crime was planned with contingency conclusions in place. Number 16, vanishing evidence and witnesses. If it does not exist, it is not a fact, and you won't have to address the issue. Number 17, change the subject. Usually in connection with one of the other ploys listed here, find a way to sidetrack the discussion with abrasive or controversial comments in hopes of turning attention to a new, more manageable topic. This works especially well with companions who can argue with you over the new topic and polarize the discussion arena in order to avoid discussing more key issues. Now, Rule 17 that I just read, where do you think that might apply, Patriots? Think about it. Number 18, emotionalize, antagonize, and goad opponents. If you can't do anything else, chide and taunt your opponents and draw them into emotional responses, which will tend to make them look foolish and overly motivated, and generally render their material somewhat less coherent. Not only will you avoid discussing the issues in the first instant, but even if their emotional response addresses the issue, you can further avoid the issues by then focusing on how sensitive they are to criticism. So you see how all this is playing out to make you look stupid? Number 19, ignore proof presented, demand impossible proofs. This is perhaps a variant of the play dumb rule. Regardless of what material may be presented by an opponent in public forums, claim this material irrelevant and demand proof that it is impossible for the opponent to come by. It may exist, but not be at his disposal, or it may be something which is known to be safely destroyed or withheld, such as a murder weapon. In order to completely avoid discussing issues may require you to categorically deny and be critical of media or books as valid sources, deny that witnesses are acceptable, or even deny that statements made by the government or other authorities have any meaning or relevance. Number 20, false evidence. Whenever possible, introduce new facts or clues designed and manufactured to conflict with opponent presentations as useful tools to neutralize sensitive issues or impede resolution. This works best when the crime was designed with contingencies for the purpose and the facts cannot be easily separated from the fabrications. Number 21, call a grand jury, special prosecutor, or other empowered investigative body. Subvert the process to your benefit and effectively neutralize all sensitive issues without open discussion. Once convened, the evidence and testimony are required to be secret when properly handled. For instance, if you own the prosecuting attorney, it can ensure a grand jury hears no useful evidence and that the evidence is sealed and unavailable to subsequent investigators. Once a favorable verdict, usually this technique is applied to find the guilty innocent, but it can also be used to obtain charges when seeking to frame a victim is achieved, the matter can be considered officially closed. Number 22, manufacture a new truth. Create your own experts, groups, authors, leaders, or influence existing ones willing to forge new ground via scientific, investigative, or social research or testimony which concludes favorably. In this way, if you must actually address issues, you can do so authoritatively. Number 23, create bigger distractions. If the above does not seem to be working to distract from sensitive issues or to prevent unwanted media coverage of unstoppable events such as trials, create bigger news stories or treat them as such to distract the multitudes. Number 24, silence critics. If the above methods do not prevail, consider removing opponents from circulation by some definitive solution so that the need to address issues is removed entirely. This can be by their death, arrest, and detention, blackmail or destruction of their character by a release of blackmail information, or merely by proper intimidation with blackmail or other threats. And number 25, vanish. If you are a key holder of secrets or otherwise overly illuminated and you think the heat is getting too hot, to avoid the issues, vacate the kitchen. So there you have it, YouTube chat, the 25 rules of disinformation. Basically a textbook that explains to you very simply what the left is doing, why you see the things happening in the chat room that you do. It's all part of a plan. It's all a part of a strategy. It's all a part of the tactics that's used to try to shut down those who want to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So just keep that in mind. I hope you learned something from it. I will put the link in one more time, and I hope you bookmark it and use it for future reference. And I think if you go over it enough and you really see what all it's trying to tell you, you will see that this book, these 25 rules of engagement are used every day against us. Back to you, Ancestral.